Shalom, shalom. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. My name is Yeshaya Yisrael. Let us start off in prayer. Halu el olam wa'ed. Halu ka le olam wa'ed ki ata el asher natnu korim. Brothers and sisters, giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. What we want to do, brothers and sisters, in this particular time and in this particular aspect, is get into a beginning stage, you might say, of an aspect of biblical Hebrew. All right? Now, this is going to involve, brothers and sisters, grammar. This is going to involve sentence structure. This is going to involve how the ancient people spoke. All right? Now, as we went over in lesson number 1, there was at different times different writing styles of Hebrew. And as we went over last week, the Hebrew that I am teaching and presenting is not Yiddish. There are some who have watched the videos or have stated in watching the videos, oh, that's Yiddish. It's not Yiddish. This is why you don't find Jewish people who do speak Yiddish, who might have seen the channel or know what a brother is presenting to the people. None of the Jewish people who actually do speak Yiddish have ever said that what I'm teaching is Yiddish. That is usually a statement that is made, unfortunately, from people who don't understand what we're talking about in the first place. All right, so this is something we want to get into for edification purposes. All right, so without further ado, let us go. Now, what we're going to look at, all right, with a new stick I'm using here, as opposed to the pen, what we're looking at right here is a yod, a dalet, and a kasofit. Now, for those already familiar with Hebrew, the yod and the dalet, you already know, spells the word yad. All right? Now, this dalet actually takes a shawah. All right? Yad, and then we have right here, brothers and sisters, ka. So what would this mean? This ka, okay, signifies the aspect of it being a suffix, and it shows the possession with the noun. All right? We're going to go over a couple of those examples during this course and lesson. Yad ka means literally your hand. So what we're looking at right here in the next word, because yad means hand, ka, your, yad ka, your hand. All right, now what we're looking at right here, over here, is hey, chet, zayin, kuf, and hey. Okay, now, ha, ka, zakwa. Now, if you were to drop off the aspect of this prefix with the hey, you are left with the word kazakwa. Kazak, if you were to drop off the hey, means to be strong or to have strength. All right, so that's something we want to get into for edification purposes. So you have Yad Ka, Haka, Zakwa. Okay, now let's note, brothers and sisters, by having the Kwamat followed by Hey, we already see that over 90% of those times, all right, that right there is aspect of the feminine. So let's see what we're talking about. Yad Ka, Haka, Zakwa. Now, this means in translation, your strong hand or your mighty hand. Your strong hand or your mighty hand. Now, why am I emphasizing on this is because yad ends with a dalet. Even when you have the aspect of this suffix with the kasofit, that's still a masculine letter. So whether or not you have the kadia or just yad, both of these letters, the dalet and the kaf, are both masculine letters. Yet, when you show it in the aspect of the adjective that connects to it in grammar and in gender, body parts such as hand are shown when you have it with the adjective in the feminine. I want to emphasize that. The body parts in Hebrew, when you're showing it, actually shows it in its feminine, not in its masculine. So this is why you will see Yad Ka Hazakwa. And this is coming from the scriptures, all right, in First Kings chapter 8. All right? Yad Ka Hakazakwa. Now, your hand, the strong hand of yours, the strong hand of yours, your strong hand. That's what that means in Hebrew, your strong hand or your mighty hand. All right, so this is something we want to show and go over for edification purposes. All right. So that way there will be no misunderstanding of what we're talking about in that particular regard. Let's go on to the next part that we see right here. We have here what? Zero'ah Netuya. Now, one of the things to first point out, as you see, you have the Quamats with the hay. So that's automatically over 90% of the time, as already stated, feminine. All right, so Zero'ah Netuya. Now, what does the word Zero'ah mean? The word Zero'ah means the word arm. All right, arm. Sometimes people translate the word Zero'ah as strength. All right, but regardless of that, we see the word Zero'ah meaning arm. Netuya, Nun, Tet, Wow, with the kibbutz, all right, with the shuruk, sorry, with the yod and the kwamatz and the hay. Zeroa Netuya, which means what? Arm outstretched. Or in English, outstretched arm. See, the adjective follows the noun in Hebrew, whereas in English, the adjective precedes the noun. So that's just something we want to point out. So this is literally arm outstretched, but we're saying it's the outstretched arm because it's showing the aspect of what the arm is. Now, this word netuya, all right, in its form comes from the Hebrew root word, all right, nata, and the word nata means to stretch. You don't see this word a lot, but that word nata means stretch. All right, so brothers and sisters, the hay becomes off when you're showing it in the aspect of conjugating or showing the form of it. And this adjective agreeing with the noun, but because the noun is a body part, it's shown in the feminine. So that's just something, brothers and sisters, we want to go over and show for edification purposes. Okay, so now, brothers and sisters, you see that particular aspect where it says the outstretched arm, brothers and sisters. You see that in the book of Exodus, chapter 13. All right, so that's just something we want to go over for edification purposes. Let's go on. All right, moving this over here so it can be seen better. What we're going to be dealing with in this next particular part. Now, we have here the dalit, the bet, the kuf, and the hay. And the next word is the bet, tet, nun, wow. So let's look at this. You have what? Dab kwa comes from the root word what? Dabak. The word dabak means what? To cleave. All right. So now let's look. You have the kuf with the kwamats followed by hay. And that following, brothers and sisters, by hay, we already know 90% of the time is feminine. So now this is a verb itself. All right. But remember, we're dealing in this particular aspect with body parts. So therefore, it has to agree once it comes down because body parts are represented in the feminine in Hebrew. All right. So let's look. Dab kwa. Dab kwa bitnenu. Bitnenu. Let's break this down and expound upon this. Looking at it, brother, sister, from the suffix, the noon with the wow. All right, nu. That means us or our. Now, it's only meaning us when it's a verb connected to it. It means our when a noun is connected to it. So let's look, brothers and sisters, with the bet, the tau, and the noon. Batan, bet 10. The word bet 10, brothers and sisters, means belly or stomach. In most cases, translated as belly. So bit nenu, knowing that this new here, because this is connected, this new is connected to a noun, is not us, it's our. Bit nenu would then mean our belly. All right. And brothers and sisters, you can see that particular aspect in the scriptures in the book of Psalms, chapter 44. All right. So when you go here, it says, Thou qua bit nenu means our belly or our stomach cleaves, or our belly or our stomach has cleaved. This is the past tense, actually. All right. So remember when we went over brothers and sisters, the aspect of what? She cleaved or it cleaved. What is it? It, in this case, is beten, which means belly. But as stated, this it would have to be feminine. But as we already have previously stated, knowing the rules of the language with grammar, you have it to where, brothers and sisters, this beten is treated in the feminine. All right? So that's something we want to point out in that particular regard. Let's look at the next one we see here. All right? What are we looking at, brothers and sisters? All right? Enai. Enai. This kwamat with the yod, you already see, already makes the I sound. All right? As in tapukai, baftakai, akai, achiotai, so forth, as we went over in the past. But enai, all right, means what? My eyes. Had that been the word ak and it said akai, it would have said my brothers. All right, so it says what? Enai tir ena. Now let's understand what we're looking at with this word right here for those following along. All right, you have the tau, the resh, the aleph, the yod, the nun, and the hey. Now, as we went over before when we was dealing with the word shabar, all right, such as the word shabar, ba'aya tishubarna, ba'ayot tishubarna, ba'aya tishubar, all right, and ba'ayot tishubarna. This na, also as in this case, all right, we want to show this is an actual aspect of it being what? A suffix. Now, so once you drop off that suffix, let's look at the word and see what we can glean. We have the tau, the resh, the aleph, and the yod. So let's look. If we were to look at this tau, that's a prefix. So what are we left with? The resh, the aleph, and the yod. Now, we already begin to know and see, as we went over in lesson number 6, the significance of the letter hey and the letter yod. All right, so now knowing that that yod would have been a hey, had these prefix and suffix not been there, you are left with the word ra'ah. Ra'ah means what? To see. So what does that mean? Tir'ena means my eyes will see. That's a future tense word. You know it's a future tense word because the pronoun is put in the front of the root of the word. And then you know what kind of conjugation you're talking about, it being a future, and then you know what person is talking about being in this particular aspect, the second person feminine plural, this one right here. All right, tir'ena. Enai tir'ena. So that's what we want to go in that, pardon me, third person feminine plural, third person, not second person, third person feminine plural. All right, but I want to emphasize in the future tense, second and third person feminine plural is the same word. All right, but in this case, this is literally would say, my eyes, they will see. My eyes, they will see. All right, so third person feminine plural. They or they'll see. Enai tir'ena. And this comes, brothers and sisters, from the book of Micah in the Bible. Micah chapter 7. All right. So we see here, we get this here out of the book of Kings, out of the book of Exodus, out of the book of Psalms, and out of the book of Micah. So that right there, I just want to show for edification purposes. Now, had this not said my eyes, but it said Eni as opposed to Enai, it would have said Eni, which means my eye. Eni tir'e. But because you're showing in the aspect of more than one eye, and eye is a body part, okay, you show it in the feminine aspect as we've been going over in these particular cases. So, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes, giving honor and praise unto the Most High, these are the kind of lessons that we want to sit there and get into. If there's any questions, do not hesitate. I will put my contact information at the end of this so we can continue on in this particular regard. All right, so let us continue on and conclude. in this particular aspect and what we're talking about in this particular case. All right. And we're going to take this, brothers and sisters, all right, pardon that, step by step. We're going to go over the first three words we see here. Now, this is coming from the book of Exodus, chapter 20. Now, out of respect, I did not write the holy name of the Most High on this, but we already know and understand. Anoki is what? I or I am. All right? Anoki, and we know Yod He Wah He, the name of the Most High. Anoki, I didn't write that in here because I didn't want to take it in vain or not treat it as sacred as it could be treated. All right, so I didn't write that in here. Anoki Yah Eloheaka. So let's look. You have here the next word, what? Eloheaka. All right, what does Eloheaka mean? It means your God or your power. All right, so let's expound upon this. All right, the word El comes from the root word in part, Ayil. The word Ayil means to be mighty. All right. Now, in Deuteronomy 28, verse 32, the word El is there and it means power or might. When it says, unfortunately, upon the curses, there shall be no might in your hand or no power in your hand, the word El is used there in that particular regard. All right. Anoki, we skip the aspect of the holy name, Eloheaka, which means what? To be mighty, to be powerful, to have power. Eloheaka. Now, brothers and sisters, all right, for edification purposes, this kaf, so feet that you see there, is showing the aspect of it as a suffix. All right, but that ka represents, brothers and sisters, your. So Elo, hey, Elohe, God of, Eloheaka, the God of yours. Now, I want to emphasize something because there is an unfortunate teaching that they call henotheism, in which some people attempt to state that the Most High, the creator and maker of heaven and earth, is part of a pantheon of other gods. Not going to spend too much time on that subject, but I do want to emphasize, nonetheless, brothers and sisters, that Eloheka is not saying your gods. And how we know that is because remember that it agrees with what we're talking about. So Anoki means I am, not we are. It's not Anachnu, it's Anoki. All right. Then secondly, if we're looking at this word right here, we already know that the word Elohim in many cases means God. Now, if you don't understand the culture of the house of Israel, is what you will call not monism, all right, but more so the aspect, brothers and sisters, of monotheism. Now, monism is a teaching that says that the ancient Israelites or any ancient people acknowledge that there was more than one God, even though they had their own particular God. But brothers and sisters, what the Israelites was doing in the scriptures, when they would sit there and speak upon a certain subject, they would not sit there and acknowledge in righteousness the gods of other nations because that was considered, brothers and sisters, and treated with capital punishment. So ancient Israel did not delve in their own culture, the Torah culture. I'm not talking about Jeroboam who made the calves. All right, he was just going off and being wicked. All right, I'm talking about the aspect, brothers and sisters, of what the culture of the Israelites itself endorsed, not what the Israelites made part of their culture later on. All right, so that's what we want to get into for edification purposes. We may want to ask, not taking it to a debate aspect, why would somebody try to promote or push what they call polytheism? Some can say henotheism inside of the scriptures if you already know that the Most High is the true and the living one. I have an explanation. It's because some people just want to look different. And even if you're wrong or look foolish, at least some people still feel, well, I might look like a fool, but at least all eyes is on me now. Some people rather get the views rather than just sit there and be 100% upright. That's something they got to answer to the Most High for. Because it's not the views on YouTube, it's his eyes, the Most High's eyes, that we should be worried about, that we should consider, that we should want to sit there and have shine upon us. Not how many views you get online. That's not the goal of these kind of teachings. All right, so this is something we want to point out for edification purposes. All right, so now Elohim, all right, essentially, brothers and sisters, shows you the magnitude of the power of the one we're talking about as Yod Wahe. There are many Hebrew words, as we've gone over in the past, all right, that have the im, or what they always like to call the kirik yod mem, the kirik yod mem aspect, in which the whole meaning of it is not plural whatsoever. Mayim is one, which means water, because water itself is immense. All right, the same word for water is the same word for waters. Mayim. All right. So this is something we want to go over. The Hebrew word for virginity that you see in Deuteronomy chapter 22 is the word betulim. The word for virgin is betulah. The word for virgins, the plural of virgin, is betulot. But the word betulim, brothers and sisters, doesn't mean virgins, it means virginity. So it just goes to show you the immensity of how the Israelites viewed certain things, such as Mayim, Betulim, Kayim, which means life, because life is immense. You understand? So these are things that we want to go over for edification purposes. So now let's look. We have here Asher. All right, Anoki. We skipped the aspect of the Yod He Wahe for reasons I explained. Eloheka, Asher, which means which or that. Now, in this case, brothers and sisters, moving this so it can be seen a little better. All right, the word Asher here, all right, means which. It doesn't mean that. Because which and that is used with objects, and which is used for people or the aspect, not saying the Most High as a person, but it's speaking about the aspect of what is not an average thing. Okay, let's go on. Asher ho zetiha. Ho zeti ka. What are we dealing with? Now, if you remember the lesson we went over on this channel, you have the hey and the kolam. I'm going to give you a cheat sheet in this regard. This is actually a he feel verb stem word. Now, if we already can see that it's a he feel form and we see ho, we already know that in the qual form of the he feel form of this word is the word starting with the letter yod. So if this was a yod, a zadeh, and an aleph, you get the word what? Yatzah. The word yatzah means to go out. All right. So Hoseh means what? To bring out. Why? Because, brothers and sisters, if yatzah is the root in a qual stem, right? We know that Hoseh, all right, or Hotzi, when you look at it in its round down right root, once you get right into it, all right, would mean to bring out, because the hifil is the causative of the qual. So if the qual form of this is yatzah, which means to go out, the hifil form, its root being hotzi, okay, would mean what? To bring out. And hotzi is spelled as such in Hebrew. All right, for those following. Now that comes from, as stated, is also, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes, a peyod verb is also, brothers and sisters, a lamed aleph verb. So now we begin to see when it's conjugated in different forms, the aleph, when dealing with this masculine aspect, doesn't have any vowel with it. All right, you will see one with the feminine of it, but not the masculine. Okay, so now, Jose, this is why I was saying you may want to go lesson per lesson, because when we get to this kind of subject and this kind of level, I don't mean to talk over nobody's head, but this is what we're going to get into after we done pass lesson number 40. All right, so now let's look. Zeti means I have brought, ka. Now this ka, brothers and sisters, doesn't mean your, it means you. All right, Asher Hozeti, which I had brought you forth. Hozeti ka literally means I had brought you forth. I have caused you to go out. That's what that word literally means. All right. So this ka in this particular aspect means you. Whereas when you look at Elohir ka, this ka represents your. So that's why we want to know for edification purposes. When you have this ka, which is a suffix, all right, connected to a verb, it means you. When you have this, brothers and sisters, ka, connected to a noun, this ka being a suffix, it means your. All right. So we went over that, brothers and sisters, with this new right here, this being a noun. So we know that this new doesn't mean us, it means our. All right. So this is something we want to emphasize for edification purposes. All right. Let's go on, brothers and sisters, if we will, and continue in this particular regard. All right. Able to see it, given understanding, thinking the Most High. Now let's look. We have me edits. Now, this mem, as we went over in lesson number 15, all right, on this channel, is a prefix from or Aleph, Resh, and Zadeh, Sophie. Eretz said sometimes as Aretz. All right, and what that word, brothers and sisters, mean is the word earth. All right, so Eretz means from the land of, from the earth of. All right, because the word, brothers and sisters, for land, they say it literally is the word Adama, which means land or ground. Whereas the word Eretz more so directly means the word earth. So from the earth of being understood in Hebrew as we expounded on in the past. All right? Meets Rahim. All right. Now, for those who've been following the channel, you've been already understanding, like on when I did a teaching on Moreh Yeshaya Torah lessons about the aspect of the word Mizraim. It's translated in most cases as the word Egypt, but we already done broke that word down over and over and over to where you see the mem as a suffix, Zadeh, Resh, Yod, Mem. So if you were to drop off, which you can, the mem, you get Zadeh, Resh, Yod, Mem. Zarim. Zarim in Jeremiah chapter 21, all right, shows it as the word besieging. We went over that over different videos. So now the Israelites did not call that particular land of their captivity, all right? They didn't name it Tamari or Tashmehu or Tasati or Waset or Sematawi, which is the ancient names that the ancient people of Egypt had. The literal word Egypt itself, that word Egypt, E-G-Y-P-T, comes from the Greek word Egyptos. The word Egyptos, brothers and sisters, comes from the aspect of what the ancient Egyptians had a name for Memphis. The ancient Egyptians referred to Memphis as Menopher, whereas the ancient Israelites referred to the same land of Memphis as the land Noph. Menopher is the Egyptian way. Noph, you see in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 46, is speaking about the same land. The Greeks later on called it Memphis. So this is something we want to point out in that regard. Now, getting back, brothers and sisters, into the aspect of the Hebrew, we begin to see Mitzrayim. We already expounded in other videos that the part right here, Ayim, is a dual plural. All right? Dual plural. So if it's a dual plural, what is the dual plural of? Mem, Zadeh, and Resh. Now, brothers and sisters, if you were to, which in certain cases does happen, if you had a wow as an interjection between the Zadeh and the Resh, you get, without this suffix here of the Yod and the Mem, if you just had, or the Mem Sophie, if you had Mem, Zadeh, wow, Resh, you get the word Matzor. The word Matzor, brothers and sisters, means besiege. That's the same word that's used in Deuteronomy 28, verse what? 53. So these are things we want to get into for edification purposes. One cannot, and it's not a challenge that I'm presenting because we're dealing with the Most High Eloheinu. All right, this is just something for edification purposes. However, not taking nothing from what was just said, one cannot linguistically and grammatically and lexically and phonetically break down the word Mitzrayim into meaning Egypt. Because even when you deal with, and I hardly go there, to the Strong's Concordance, they will tell you that Mitzrayim is the dual meaning of Matzor. So if it's dual meaning two, how do you fit E-G-Y-P-T into a dual meaning? So the word Egypt that we see in the Bible, translated in many cases from the word Mitzrayim, I want to state is a poor translation. Whereas, not taking nothing from this lesson, when I do a lesson on Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, and expound upon it, not to be disrespectful, if there was any Jewish scholar that thinks that us as you might see, I'm quote unquote black, even though my skin is brown, that as they want to call us the black Hebrew Israelites, none of them have never, not to be disrespectful, contested it. If they watched it, I did it on Maccabees TV. I did it on all three of my channels. I did it on Basim channel. I did it on Sal Showtime channel. So it was different channels in which I actually presented this kind of presentation about the word Mizraim. So if there was anyone who disagrees with the way we teach Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, so far to date, having given my number, having given my email, I never got a contest back. So this is something we want to get into, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes. So mitzrayim, the ayim, we already know means a dual of whatever that word is connected to. Ephraim means doubly fruitful. So this is something we want to point out, and as you know, that's one of the sons of Joseph. All right, so understanding Hebrew phonetics, prepositions, linguistics is very important. And you can't go to the Blue Bible, Blue Beam, or whatever that thing is called online and expect to glean from it. You're going to have to sit down, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, and take your own notes. See, as you might see here, as you might see here, as you might see here, and this being in one notebook, as you see the spiral there, all right, and this being another notebook in which you see the spiral there. Those are two different notebooks. So you got to get your pen and paper together. You cannot have not acquired any kind of Hebrew linguistic knowledge and try to go, and I say this in due respect, against those who sat under Hebrew teachers ever since a young brother was 13 years old. I now stand before you giving thanks to the Most High at the age of 38. Kohen Mikael was my Hebrew teacher. You understand? And so he was a person who studied Hebrew among Israelites and among other academia. All right, not to get too personal in a man's business. All right, but to get into, brothers and sisters, this particular aspect, two things. If you're a Christian, no offense intended, and you're not serving the one that spoke these words in Exodus 20, you got another Lord and Savior besides the one who created the heavens and the earth, the prophecies and the words of the Most High are not going to come to you, because whom you serving is another God. And it says in the book of Psalms, it says chapter 50, it says, what have the wicked to declare my statutes? So if you don't acknowledge the Most High, the one who Deuteronomy 28 is talking about bringing Israel back into this Mizraim in ships, you're not going to understand it. They're trying to end off the history of the Israelites to fit the story of Christianity in at 70 AD. The story of the house of Israel does not end at 70 AD or AD 70 or CE 70 or 70 CE. It does not end with the burning of the temple. All right? Because the war that people are talking about, that they always mention 70 AD, 70 AD, 70 CE, and so forth, that war continued after the temple was destroyed. The significance of that year is when Titus and his army besieged the temple. That's what makes that year stand out. But the war that they was already fighting since 66 CE or 66 AD still continued to 73 CE or 73 AD. So for those who want to get into the linguistics and the history, let's go in. You understand? So this is what we want to talk about for edification purposes. All right, let's go on. Me'eret mitzrayim, beit abadim. All right? Beit, from the house of. Beit abadim. All right? Abadim means what? Bondage, servitude, enslavement, servitude. From the house of bondage. Mitzrayim me beit abadim. It doesn't say Mitzrayim u mi beit abadim. It doesn't say, for instance, in the English, Egypt and the house of bondage. It says in a lack for a better terminology of translation, this word, Egypt, the house of bondage. So what is referred to even in just dealing with the English, Egypt is referred to as the house of bondage. So the Israelites, speaking of their own enslavement, forgetting the fact that you cannot sit there and erase the fact that this is a dual meaning. You can't erase that. You understand? So you might want to look and see why is this a dual meaning and what is the meaning of it being doubled. Ma'zer, me'zar, which means in Hebrew distress. The word here means distress. So it's double distress from the house of bondage. All right, from the land of double distress from the house of bondage. That is a more accurate and lineal and literal translation of this. All right, from the land of, all right, from the land of double distress from the house of bondage. So this is something we want to go over for edification purposes. So let's continue on, brothers and sisters, and conclude out. All right. This part here says lo, which means no or not. Lo. All right. Lo yihye laka. If you go, brothers and sisters, to lesson number 23, all right, you'll begin to see what? That there is no Hebrew word for the word to have. See, like in Spanish is the word tener, which they consider irregular. Yo tengo means I have in Spanish. There is no literal way in Hebrew to say I have. So what is done is this. You have lo, which means no or not. Yihye. This word here, all right, yihye is a future tense word from its root word, haya. Haya in Hebrew, brothers and sisters, all right, means to be or to exist. So what we're looking at, lo yihye, haya, meaning what? To be or to exist. So it shall not be, it shall not come to pass, it shall not exist. Laka. If you go back to lesson number 15, you'll see that laka means to you or for you. All right? That right there being an aspect of to you, to you. All right? Lo yihye laka. It shall not come to pass to you. You shall not have. Now, you shall not have makes more sense in English, but there is, as stated, no Hebrew word meaning to have. So what is done as stated is the word haya in its root, meaning to be or to exist. To be to you, to be for you. That's how that is basically said in Hebrew, translated, making sense in English as the word has. All right? Lo yihye, it shall not be, it shall not exist to you. All right? That's what it says right there. That's an actual command. Okay? What are we looking at here? Elohim, Acherim. All right? Other gods, other mighty ones. It shall not be to you other gods. Now, that's not only talking about an idol that somebody took a piece of wood or stone and chiseled something in. That could be a man or a woman. Anytime somebody's telling you to go against the laws of the Most High and you go against it, you have just made another God in place of the Most High in your heart. That's why Ezekiel chapter 14 speaks about the people who have the idols already set in their heart. The Most High said he will not be inquired of by them. So this goes back to Psalms 50, where it says what, brothers and sisters, in the book of Psalms chapter 50, it says, what have the wicked to declare my statutes? This is why, brothers and sisters, not that I'm holier than thou, this is why it's important to keep your nose clean. Why do you think, not to take it off the lesson, anytime somebody orders one of my books, you're getting it like this. Nobody is going to sit there and say, I ordered from that guy and I can show you that I paid him and he didn't give me my book and he's ignoring my inboxes and he's ignoring my emails and he doesn't answer my text messages, but he's still up there teaching. No, that's not going to happen. Lo ani ganab. I'm not a thief. You understand? So the point I'm getting to, once it comes down to this particular subject, Elohim Akerim, other gods, other powers. That is to say anything that you take to be such. This is not monism, brothers and sisters. This is not saying that the ancient Israelites acknowledge that the other gods of the nations actually had any kind of power. You understand? So that's something we want to point out in that particular regard. So let's go on, if we will. All right. And the last part here says al panai, which means what? Concerning or about my presence. Meaning about my presence, concerning my presence, you're not supposed to have any other deities. You're not supposed to have any other gods. The only Elohim that belongs to the house of Yisrael is the Most High. And the Most High fills heaven and earth. So this is something we want to go over for edification purposes. None of the gods of the other nations can give you a record or an example or an aspect of what will and will not happen based upon obedience, like you see in Leviticus 26 and Deuteronomy 28. Did you ever notice that? That the gods of these other nations don't have no, if you keep my laws this, if you don't keep my laws that. Only the Most High has that. And when you read in Deuteronomy 28, the first aspect of the 13 verses, you read about things that sound pleasant that you will want in your life. You will want your own land. You will want to be fruitful in your own land. All right? And then you read Deuteronomy 28 from verse 15 all the way to down verse 69 in the Masoretic text, or in the King James from Deuteronomy 28:15 to Deuteronomy 29 verse 1. You will see things that the Most High spoke about that nobody will want. But how can one speak about what one will want or what one will not want if this God that we're talking about in the Old Testament was not real? How would that God know that you would want to not miscarry? That you would want to have the aspect, brothers and sisters, of eating out the old store before the new store? That you will want to have the former rain and the latter rain? That you will want to be above only and not beneath? That you will want to have your what's the word in Hebrew? Mishmara, mishmorot, mishmeret. The aspect of having your misharateka. That's the word. Pardon me. Misharateka from the word mishara, which basically means your cabinets, your drawers being filled up. Who would not want that? To just go in there and have all kinds of blessings when the Most High said that he will command the blessing upon you. The gods of the other nations cannot command a blessing because the gods of the other nations do not know what their people need. Because the Most High named the house of Israel, Yisrael, when he changed Jacob's name to Yisrael. You understand? So the evidence of the house of Israel is evidence of the Most High. And so therefore, the nations, they named their gods and gave their gods attributes. There's a distinction between the two. You see, so this is something, brothers and sisters, that we want to go over for edification purposes. Giving honor and praise unto the true and the living God, the Most High. I can be reached at this number here, 908 587 4841. The email, pardon me, the website, Danite Publications. Oh, this wasn't even being seen. Sorry. 908 587 4841. Danite Publications, or Y Israel 22 at yahoo.com. All right. Shalom Lakem. I can be reached at this number here. This is the website. This is the email. Yisrael22 at yahoo.com. Shalom, brothers and sisters.